It's unboxing time. Let's see what we got. What? No way. So, quick overview of everything that came in the box. So you got the unit that's going to go under the hood, and this is where the fuses and relays will be. So there's this. Just got to get it off here. Gets hooked up. So there's that piece right there. That's all the relays and fuses. It comes with a fuse tap kit, and I'll get to what that's going to be for in a second here. A bunch of zip ties and different wire connectors and stuff like that, heat shrink, different things that you'll need for installing this kit. Put that back down. And then you get your bracket, and there's two different brackets that it comes with. One of them is installed on the back of this already. That's how my box came. I've seen other people that it came with two different boxes and it has these brackets in it. These brackets are for the this one is for the 2007 to 2008 models, and then the other bracket, which is already on my switch panel, is for the 2009 to 2017 models. Then you got your various wiring harnesses. And that's about it. But one more thing before we get started, I wanted to show you this. This is the last page of the instructions for the install right here, and it goes over how to get direct power. So if you just hook this panel straight up to your battery, the lights on this switch panel here will be on all the time, even if your Jeep's off. Hooking it up to, it looks like it's going to be the using a fuse tap to the M6. The lights on the switch panel will only be on when your Jeep's either on or in the ACC mode, which is what you want. So that means that it won't be powered unless the Jeep's actually running. That way it'll keep you from possibly forgetting that you have some accessories turned on and running your battery dry. So I'm going to be doing it this way, and I just want to make sure that you guys see this, that the last page of the instructions is the instructions on how to tap into that fuse. So once we get to running power, I'll show how to do that in the video. The first thing you want to do is we're going to remove these right here on both sides, which will give us better access to this panel because this whole thing has to come down. And that would be a T20 bit. The next thing we're going to remove is there's a little screw in here. And it looks like it's a plastic screw, so we'll want to be as careful as possible taking it out. So once you pop that out, you'll see it's just like a little plastic screw that when you screw it in, it expands the top part there. It's not the most pleasant thing to take off in the world. You'll get it off, and then we'll just do the other side, and then we'll work on getting this whole top panel off as well. All right, so now we just got to take off this last piece of trim right here. So just kind of slowly work it off. Just kind of held in by little clips here and there. There you go. So as you can see, just these little metal clips. You just carefully pull those off and try and be as even as possible, and it'll just come right out. So the next step is to remove this piece right here so that we can install our little bracket that's going to hold up the switch panel. So these are looks like T20 as well. So we'll just remove these. This bracket's going to mount on there like this, with this long piece sticking to the passenger side right here. And we'll just tighten that back up there. This bracket around. So you see there's some play in this bracket, so we might need to align it a little bit better, figure out exactly where it needs to sit on there. So now we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so you're gonna have to trim this piece right here so that it fits around the bracket that we mounted inside the Jeep. So all I did is, once that bracket's in there, you can just kind of hold this up there. It has this aligning pin, make sure that's where it's supposed to be. And then just use a Sharpie, I use a silver Sharpie, and just kind of mark roughly where the bracket's gonna interfere with this piece here. And then I'm just gonna take my Sharpie and I'm gonna finish those lines, and I'm just gonna cut it straight down to that piece and just cut all that excess off so the brackets have plenty of space to get down inside this. So we're just going to cut those little pieces off right there. Whoa, having some problems with my dremel here. Might be time to replace this, it's dying. Hopefully it's got enough life in it to finish my last cut here. Well, there, that's a weird thing. So watch this. As long as I'm holding that right there, it spins just fine. So there's just something loose on the inside. Well, if it works, I guess. Okay. So I'm just going to be filing down these edges just to make it a little bit cleaner, because since I wasn't able to get the speed that I wanted out of my Dremel, it got kind of sloppy there, a bit knurled up, but that's okay. All right, so that step is complete. Now that we have trimmed off those edges, you'll see that it'll just fit right up there. So we're just going to realign this. Start popping it back into place. And I'm only going to put in one side because we still got to run some cables behind there. So then the next step is to get your wiring harness. Behind here. Just like that. Connect this side. Just gotta figure out exactly how it is that this wiring harness is supposed to fit up in this area. All right, so once you get that wiring harness in there, good. And it's kind of a trick to get it in there. The best thing to do is the big block where this plugs into the whole wiring harness is to try and line it up with this nub right here. There's enough space for it to fit up in there. Then you're just gonna attach this to the mount, or to the bracket. So I'm gonna do that right now. Make sure those are tight. Bracket's on there. It's wobbles a little bit on that side, but can't handle. So wasn't able to get a good shot of it because I'm parked on a hill. My door keeps shutting on me. But once you get this wire run under here, it comes down through this A-column, and this A-column you can just pull it off, right? You just pull straight back and it'll come off. There's a little metal clip in there. And then you run the wire behind that A-column right there, and you'll have to take off this panel right here, and it'll come down to here. All right, so you're just gonna remove these two bolts right here, and they are 10 millimeter. I like to use these little magnet pieces here to make sure I don't lose my hardware. This is just going to mount right in here, right up against the ECU. Those started right there. It's touching those cooling blades on the ECU. Vibration would start to wear into that. So make sure that it's not touching that stuff. So I'm not going to record the whole wiring process for this thing, but your wiring harness from the switch plugs into this right here. It's a little 12 volt 8-pin connector, and then your power supply goes here and runs down into the ground. We'll go over there in a second. And this is your ground, and that also goes to the battery. This right here is for running the switch relay on the inside off of your AC power, so that when you turn your Jeep off, the switchboard inside turns off as well. So let me show you how I run these harnesses real quick. And right now they're not all tucked away and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that on the video. I'm just going to show you where I'm going to run them, and then I'm just going to do it. So these come down and under here, and I ran them along this little crevice here, and they come up, and then they're going to run behind the engine and just run along this wiring harness right here, which is the main wiring harness. And they'll come over to here, and they connect to the positive terminal and the ground terminal. And keep your ground disconnected. I have this ESD bag there keeping it separated. Keep your ground disconnected while you're doing all this stuff for safety. And then in order to run this wire right here, which runs through the wiring harness, right? In order to run this wire right here to the ACC power so that it's only on when the Jeep is on, you need to tap into the M6 fuse slot, and it comes with a fuse tab, or you can go get a fuse tab from an auto parts store. They're pretty cheap. Now, this is something that you gotta think about when you're installing this though. This whole thing is sealed, right? So if you put the fuse tab facing this way, so the lead is going out that way, then it's gonna interfere with the gasket on the lid. And if you put it this way, it's still gonna interfere with the gasket on the lid. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna route it this way, and I'm gonna take a file right where the wire is gonna run, and I'm literally just gonna file down a channel for the wire to sit in. Okay, so all done wiring it. So the cover off here. So I wanna show you, we're gonna go over the how to plug this into your AC power. So you see this red lead coming out of this wiring harness. My kit came with this already ran. In the instructions it says to manually run this on your own, but I think that they started sending them like this so that people could do this from the start. So you literally just clip the lead right out of that plug, and I still got to cap that off. You don't want to leave open leads. And you plug it into this wire, which runs through your wiring harness. And then here's my only accessory that I have right now. It's my light bar. We'll get to that in a second. Ground, and then they both run underneath my horn, and I have them kind of tucked up and zip tied under there to hold them in place. And they run along that main wiring harness right along the back. Positive goes into there. And then I ran the positive, and that goes into this fuse tap right here. And you can see I ran the fuse tap through here, and I just filed out a little slot for this wire to just sit in so that it doesn't interfere with this. And I also filed out notches along this as well so that it can go down and around the wire on the sides and not pinch it, right? And the second wire is not related to my accessory system, but it comes over
and goes under here and goes back, and that's for my CB radio. So that way now my CB radio will turn off automatically if I turn off my Jeep. So the whole thing's wired up. There's the ground cable, and everything's zip tied so it's all secure, and that's it. So here is the switch panel. You can see that it's all lit up. So this is off and that's on. I don't have anything plugged into these yet. This is just my light bar right here. So go ahead and flip that on, and there it is. The light bar. So there you go. Just kind of a quick review of Rough Country's kit for this. Just like being honest about it. One, my switch panel came wired completely backwards from all the other ones that I saw, like looking at pictures and other people's installs. This switch is supposed to be on this side on the relay under the hood, and it's not. It's on this side, if that makes sense. This was an absolute pain to install up here, and it's still not completely level. That bracket is kind of flimsy on that side because of the weight that it's put on it, and that's partially because it's wired backwards. And I was gonna just undo the wiring and redo it myself, but because of the way it's wired, right here on the side you have this circuit breaker reset, and the wire from that to the wiring harness is too short to switch the wiring over to the other side. So I would actually have to like start splicing in wires, and I didn't want to mess with all that stuff. So it is what it is on there. I might do something to make it actually stay up against the frame a little bit better on that side. I'm not sure. I don't know what I would do, but yeah. So yeah, overall, really like it. It's cool having all these switches up here, and they all lit up, and they're regular toggle switches, so you could switch them out for something. It doesn't have to be the Rough Country lights. Like eventually I plan to get lockers, and these will be my two switches for my lockers, and I'll get something else for those. That's cool. There you go. It's on. And see how that light changes color, and it's off. And this light turns off, and that light turns on. It's pretty cool. Like the way it works. Final shot. There it is, all buttoned up. It's got a little cover on it. Looks like it belongs there. Doesn't look like a bunch of ugly wires all over the place. Turns out pretty clean. Pretty awesome thing. So if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel. As I do things to my Jeep, I'll keep making videos and posting them. That's all I got. Thank you for watching.